By mid-2026, the long-held assumption that OpenAI will remain the untouchable default of artificial intelligence has finally cracked. At the end of March 2026, OpenAI closed a massive funding round, locking in an $852 billion post-money valuation. But just weeks later, Anthropic officially eclipsed them. During their Series H round, Anthropic hit a confirmed $965 billion post-money valuation. Tracking annualized revenue from January 2024 to May 2026, notice how OpenAI plateaus around $25 billion, while Anthropic aggressively surges past it to hit $47 billion. That vertical climb is a 47 times jump, driven by enterprise adoption. The AI hierarchy is now a volatile battle between entirely divergent business models. If you are a tech leader or developer right now, you have to choose which ecosystem you are going to lock your infrastructure and budget into. You are looking at a triopoly: Anthropic's momentum in business-to-business coding, OpenAI's massive consumer scale, and Google's raw compute dominance. Trillion-dollar IPO targets and raw revenue numbers create a deceptive picture of platform stability. The central trade-off is whether you bet on high-margin enterprise efficiency or ubiquitous consumer distribution. The ecosystem you choose in 2026 will directly dictate your organization's future vulnerabilities and compute bottlenecks. Anthropic built its business architecture to serve businesses. Roughly 85% of their revenue comes strictly from enterprise and developer customers. This chart breaks down enterprise LLM spend. Anthropic commands 40%, driven by Claude Code, while OpenAI sits at 27% and Google at 21%. This focus has Anthropic projecting near 77% gross margins by 2028. But that hyper-concentration on coding comes with severe compute bottlenecks. Their supply chain is fragile. We saw this directly in June 2026, when the U.S. Commerce Department abruptly ordered Anthropic to suspend access to its Fable 5 models on national security grounds. Choosing Anthropic means you are buying the market's superior engineering agent, but you are also accepting a single point of failure when it comes to compute limits and regulatory shocks. OpenAI's revenue model is the exact inverse. They rely on consumer subscriptions for 70 to 85% of their business. Their consumer distribution is massive. ChatGPT crossed 1 billion monthly active users faster than any application in history. That consumer focus pulled them into costly side projects throughout 2025, including the failed Sora video generator, the Atlas web browser, and hardware developed with Johnny Ive. These fragmented efforts strained their finances. OpenAI is facing projected losses of over $14 billion in 2026, operating at heavily negative margins. These setbacks forced leadership to issue the code red, pulling engineers off side projects and scrambling back to their core GPT 5.5 codex models to combat Anthropic's enterprise momentum. OpenAI offers unmatched scale and distribution, but it comes attached to a company dealing with severe executive churn and immense cash burn. For developers working right now, the practical workflow choice usually comes down to Anthropic's Claude Code versus OpenAI's Codex. Claude Code commands the highest developer satisfaction and leads in SWE bench verified performance. Codex, on the other hand, consumes significantly fewer tokens per task, which directly lowers enterprise operating costs compared to Claude's heavier token usage. But Google is an existential threat, targeting both the consumer and coding markets simultaneously. They are leveraging their massive global infrastructure to bypass the current duopoly, injecting their Gemini models into billions of devices. Betting entirely on OpenAI or Anthropic risks stranding your architecture if Google's raw distribution turns Gemini into the default enterprise standard. So here is the reality. Anthropic owns enterprise code, OpenAI owns the consumer, and Google possesses unmatched distribution. On this scorecard, enterprise CTOs should choose Claude Code for engineering, but build redundancies for compute access. Beta C builders and token-constrained orgs should standardize on OpenAI's Codex for lean integration. Independent developers must embrace workflow fragmentation, using multiple tools in parallel despite subscription fatigue. Investors need to look past the top-line numbers. Anthropic inflates its revenue figures through cloud resale, while OpenAI is burning billions of dollars on compute. The AI crown is permanently fractured. Organizations must build their systems around specific operational needs rather than corporate hype.